Hey, what's up everybody? How y'all doing today? So I just finished watching 13 Reasons Why, finally, and holy shit. Just in case you've been living under a rock, the show's about a high school girl who commits suicide, and instead of leaving a note, she leaves a bundle of cassette tapes, containing the 13 reasons why she killed herself, and they're all people that went to her high school. And the show centers around the one character who is most friendly to her, and it kind of chronicles her story while he's listening to all of her tapes, and that's basically the entire show. And honestly, there's a reason why everybody's talking about this show. It's because it's pretty fucking good. Definitely not the best thing Netflix has put out, but it's certainly up there. Absolute highlight, best thing about the show, the music. Granted, it's mostly a lot of like newer kind of indie bands for the most part, but they do dip back into like the 60s, 70s, and 80s a lot. Because if your show starts off with Joy Division, chances are you know what's up. And I found at least 3 or 4 new bands that I've been listening to regularly since I finished the show. There's actually a website that has the complete soundtrack to every episode in it. I'll leave a link in the description. And I'm gonna keep the rest of this review kind of like short and vague because I want to do a spoiler review eventually. The 2 negatives that I'll say is that some of the acting was a little bit hammy in like the first half of the show, but it's only like here and there, like it doesn't happen too terribly much. And without spoiling anything, I thought the 13th reason was not totally well done. The episode itself was pretty good, but I thought it copped out a little bit. But overall, it was like kind of an understandable progression throughout the episode, so it wasn't like, the worst thing I've ever seen. Just needed a little bit of improvement though. Besides that, I think this is a pretty amazing show. The main character, Clay, was the younger looking kid in that movie Don't Breathe, which was fucking awesome, by the way. If you haven't seen that, get on that shit. And this kid's got a pretty bright future, I think, because he was a very believable, not like dorky kid, but kind of this kid that's slightly misunderstood. Like, he doesn't get bullied or anything, but he's not the most popular, and he's a little bit more complicated of a dude. Like, the kid doesn't fall into just one category, and the actor did a really good job of bringing all those layers, like, together. And I don't know if you've seen interviews with any of these kids or not, but the girl who plays Hannah Baker, super Australian accent. She basically house MD'd the whole first season, and I did not detect the fact that she was from a different country. Oh, there was one thing that I didn't really like. It was good writing, but like I personally just didn't prefer it. There is one episode like towards the middle where there's a lot of psych outs like throughout the entire episode. And there are a couple of times in it where it's like very obvious that it's kind of a psych out moment, but there were some times where it wasn't so obvious. So I liked the way that they mixed it up where sometimes you could clearly tell, but other times you couldn't. But I did think they did do it like 2 or 3 too many times for my taste. Again, not a negative, but kind of outside my preference. Besides that, just super diverse amount of characters. Gay people are represented in more than just kind of like a single note way, I guess you could say. Which is cool, because I mean, like, I have gay friends and a few family members myself, and I would say the majority of them are pretty dissimilar to one another, if I'm being totally honest. One thing I will point out, and I've been watching R-rated movies since I was, fairly young, but to be completely honest, I personally, if you're under the age of 18, I really strongly recommend that you don't watch this yet. I won't go into detail, but there is some seriously, seriously graphic shit that happens in this show. I'll put it to you this way, if you saw the American version of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and you had a little trouble getting through that, you might not be able to get through this season. At least not without somebody pre-watching it and like skipping over or covering your eyes or something like that. Because the show actually does get pretty rough at certain points, but I also have to kind of applaud the show because it tries to handle these topics in the most honest, straightforward way that it possibly could without trying to offend anybody. And I kind of have to give the show some credit for trying to tackle these subjects just head first. It might seem a little bit insensitive, but it is honest, and I think honesty is very important when you're tackling a subject that is as serious as the one that this show covers. But anyway, on a lighter note, I really enjoyed the show, yay! Well written, very important topics to cover, and I just thought the show, it did it very wonderfully. And again, great soundtrack. So overall, show gets a 9.3 out of 10. And they just announced that they're making a season 2. I will definitely be watching it as soon as it comes out. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Have you seen this show yet? Are you about to see it? Hop in the comments. Let me know what's up. Keep an eye out for my spoiler review, and besides that, just give me a like, subscribe to all that other bullshit, and I will catch you guys later.